Do you have any other questions today?
Is a twin soul flame the same as or similar to a walk-in?
No. Okay, this is a good question. In the case of what happened with Gail, it appears sort of like a walk-in, but it isn't, because it occurred in a different situation. They merged. They did not trade places. There are 3 questions, actually, that you asked within that one question.
Okay.
One is, what is a twin soul flame? And you talked about walk-ins, correct?
Yes.
What is happening is that every person, every spirit, every energy, when it began, it was both. This is why when you look at the male and female, the yin-yang symbol, there is balance. There are 2 halves that join together that create one. Everything is set up in a system of duality upon this planet. Light and dark, hot and cold. There are opposites. And yet they fit together perfectly. And they complement each other. And you would not want one without the other, because when they both are together, there is balance. And there is perfection. And what happens with a spirit is that the spirit will split into 2 halves. It only happens once for every spirit that is there. It has only happened once. And for many, this was eons ago, or thousands of years ago. And when this occurs, the 1 half will be incarnated into a body, a being, and then the other half stays in spirit and assists to help the one that is in a physical form find their soulmates and to help them on their path, specifically more connected with their love situations or lack of love situations, depending on what they have come to experience each lifetime. And then the next lifetime, it may be that they switch places and the person that was here will be in spirit for a lifetime, and the person that was in spirit will enter a body, and they will again help each other through that system. But ultimately, at the end of many lifetimes and many lessons, many journeys and experiences, they come to a point where they feel that they are both complete. They are both ready to remerge with each other. And they will both come into the physical world at the same time. And often it is for a romantic relationship. Sometimes it is not, but most of the time it is. They will come in life and be deeply in love with each other. Sometimes it is only deeply in love for the last 5 years of a life. They may have spent the rest of that lifetime with other people, but they will join at the end of the life. Every spirit will do it differently. Every twin soul flame pair will do it differently. And whatever they choose, at the end of their life, they are together. And then, when they go into spirit, when they leave the body, they go back together and merge into one. And this is when they usually, at that point, will decide if they are going to move on to experience other lives on other planets, or if they are going to continue on this planet exploring lives. And it's interesting because when they split, if they split a second time, some do not. If they split a second time, they'll be different. And this is when the lifetime count and the experiences will start over again, because they are truly a different person. Because different part of them has all merged together and become one. And all the experiences of both people are in both people. They join together seamlessly. As we have said before about holograms, even though you will split them up, if they cut a hologram in two, each would produce the same image. And this is kind of what we would like to say with this. They are both connected. And when they come together to merge, they have been separated for so long, they have experienced and added new things to their life. And when they remerge, they share it with each other. So then if they decide to split again, now they will each have both people's information and memories and journey. And they will take that and move forth with that information. Now, that was twin soul flames. The other you mentioned was walk-in.
Yes.
The best example we can use of a walk-in is one that we spoke of also previously. But we did not say that this was a walk-in. We talked about Osho. And we said that he had the same energy as Will Rogers. And many would look at this and say, how could this be? Even though their energy, their spirit, their messages may have been similar. Will Rogers died after Osho was born. So some would say this is impossible. But this is not. This was a walk-in. What occurred was that Will Rogers was alive in the end of his life, and Osho was born. When Osho was approximately 7 years old, he had an experience where his grandfather died. And when his grandfather died, he left his body. The spirit that was in that soul, keeping the place, waiting for Will Rogers to enter the body. Let me make sure we say this correctly so that everyone understands. The spirit that was in the body that became Osho left the body and went with his grandfather into spirit, merged back with all that is. and the energy, the spirit that was Will Rogers, that it was to become Osho, entered the body at that moment. And that is what is considered a walk-in. When someone's spirit, while alive, while physically alive, their spirit will leave their body, and another spirit, completely unique, will enter the body and continue using that body for the rest of its lifetime.
And it also has to fulfill the spirit,
it's the agreement.
Yes, the agreement.
Yes, there is an agreement that was made
Mm-hmm.
before anyone was born, before the beings that switched places
Mm-hmm.
were born. And so this is what has occurred in that situation. There was a couple of years of overlap. A few years, we should say. But it was nonetheless the same spirit. And the small child that was there, the spirit that was there at the beginning, is fine and has just moved on to another body at another time.
I would like to ask.
Could I ask one question?
Yes.
Debbie, Dianne, GeorgeAnna, to follow up on that question, could this walk-in experience occur when the soul half that is in the body has an extremely traumatic experience and feels that the half that is still in spirit would be better equipped or react in a more successful way? Would that be a reason for them to trade off and have one go back and have the other walk in?
Normally, walk-ins do not occur unless it is pre-planned.
Okay.
Normally, they do not. I believe part of what you're asking about is in a case of trauma.
Yes. Yes.
Often when trauma occurs, the spirit of the person will splinter. They will protect part of their own spirit by creating other stronger personalities that will come forward. And as all of you are aware, everyone has multiple parts to their own personality. And you also have information you can pull from past lives and from the cellular energy that is in you. So all of that making up a soul, it is very easy to see how a person could decide, I will act one way when this terrible harm is being done to me. I will hide the precious part of my soul that I want to protect. I will hide it away and keep it safe and only deal with this from another perspective. And that often causes multiple personalities.
The reason I ask this question is because I have had conversations with a person who believes that at age 13, his childhood years as a growing person was, he believes that part of him had an inability to cope with the situation and was ready to kill the body. And so that this is what
able to deal with it.
Right. That's what he believes, and that's why I was asking that question. He really believes that the person that he is now is not the one that was originally in the body.
And that is very possible, but that would be something that was planned, as hard as that sounds. It was something that would have been planned ahead of time. That event that took place.
Okay.
And
so
I
understand.
As long as he truly is one energy now, and he is not changing back and forth or feeling like he is hiding part of himself, or, it's the people who have split personalities, they will show. The personalities will appear.
Yeah, he was treated as the clinical label that you gave as a schizophrenic, but he has never fit the total definition of a schizophrenic in that way.
Yes.
And that's why.
Then it probably was a walk-in situation.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's,
we are aware.
After a while, he didn't know about the walk-in aspect until he was well into his 20s and had been through so much, and that's when he realized that's what.
Oftentimes,
that resonated with him and explained his experience of waking up and being somebody else one day.
Yes, and oftentimes walk-ins will have no memory of their past life. Of their youth, of their time period before they came in.
Yes, he spent a lot of years going back and reconstructing his early life so that he could understand.
Yes.
Was the schizophrenia before or after the walk-in?
He was an abusive childhood, very extremely abusive, and he was at a very young age, at 6 or more, treated as if he was the schizophrenic. He was given electric shock and those type of treatments. And at the age of 12, that person could no longer deal with being misdiagnosed. There was a basic flaw in the chemistry of the body, and the younger person, the younger soul, could no longer deal with our modern treatment. Misdiagnosis. He didn't explore the spiritual aspects until after the walk-in.
And what will happen sometimes is that walk-in is also in touch with the body that left, so that yes, so that they can then help in healing and help in understanding what has occurred, even to help improve the world. Often walk-ins come in with a purpose to change something major in this world.
Yeah. He has actually appeared on TV, a TV show, and although it didn't get into the spiritual so much, he was able to get part of his message across, which is pretty good in these days. That was the first time I'd heard of it. I met him by accident, not knowing this, and then I saw the TV show and I said, "Oh, I know this person."
Wonderful.
Another synchronicity in our life here.
Yes.
It makes me think.
We know Debbie has had moments.
Yeah.
We know there is a question that she has about this. There are thoughts.
You're there, Debbie.
There are thoughts going on.
Well, I'm curious about the time when I was 16 and fell out the barn.
Yes.
And that's when I felt, and when you mentioned communicating with the other part of me, I have actually visualized and talked to that other
part of you,
part of me, whether it be in dream state or just memory. And I just wondered what you could tell me about the walk-in, because that's why I asked about the schizophrenia afterwards.
Yes. And it often...
And I'm open to your thoughts on this.
And it often happens afterward that people who have this walk-in experience will be accused of having mental
afflictions,
problems, and they will be put in institutions, or because they know something is different, and oftentimes they cannot fully express it, because just like when a baby is born, it is as if, it's almost as if they still have we want to say this correctly so everyone understands it. The body remains the same. The mind remains the same. The physical brain remains the same. And the spirit changes. But as we have said, there is access to the other. So many people will not lose all memory. They will have blank spots, or they will only remember pieces of it. And sometimes this occurs because earlier during the process of getting to the point of the walk-in, if the other person who came in was in spirit, they often were there helping you experience all of the things you went through. They were there as a guide to assist you during some of the trauma that you had earlier. And then if the event happened, as an event happened, it's almost as if there is a change of places. But in your case, it's very subtle. It's almost as if, because the two of you knew this was going to happen from the beginning, there was almost an agreement to share this life.
I have felt that.
But yet, at times, and it is not a split personality situation.
No.
But it is a situation where it is as if one person has two, let me say this correctly. There is a part of you that experienced certain things in your life. And then an event happened. And while you were experiencing these earlier days, there were things that happened that you needed to understand or didn't want to deal with. And this helper, this person that was there on the other side, would come in and help you. Would often send you away sometimes. And this is what can cause memory lapses. Moments when you might not remember things.
Yeah, a lot of that.
And then eventually there's a moment when a huge trauma takes place. And it's too much. And you say, the one spirit says, I'm done. You take over. I will help from the other side. It's my turn to rest. And you switch. And this is what has happened with you. But what you need to understand is the spirit that you are now, the energy that we know as you, is the one that we spoke of when they gave how many lifetimes you had and how many you had with the three of us together. The 32 lifetimes. That is not before the walk-in. That is you now. But you still are in touch with the other part of you. It is not lost. Many will separate completely and will that other spirit will move on and have its own life, or will move into spirit and become a spirit guide from somebody else, for someone else, because they are no longer needed in your life. But in your case, there was a very close connection, and there is it's not an overlap, it is an exchange of information that occurs.
So Debbie is more integrated than most people would be who had this experience of a walk-in.
Yes, most separate. Most separate completely.
Mine is more of a transcendental exchange of energy.
Yes, a spiritual connection that you have held on to. That is there.
Thank you.
You are welcome. It is why you are not in trance today. It is why Gail is not in trance today. It is because both of you have quite unique situations that have occurred in this lifetime and in past lifetimes to bring you to this point. This is why it is your position to ask questions.
Because of our direct communication.
And because if you were here where Dianne is sitting, it would be harder for you to separate from the body. It would be different.
Because I have already separated.
Because you have two pieces. Both of you.
And she only has one.
She has one, but it's two in one. You both are quite unique.
Thank you.
You both have almost two in one. Whereas Dianne has one spirit that is uniquely hers, but then she has all of us to deal with. We are her others. This is why the three of us, the three people sitting here, we feel that you are here in the room, Gail. There are 3 people here in this room. And they are all quite unique in the way that they connect with spirit. This is why this works. Because even though Dianne is here, she is also separated slightly and is allowing another energy to use her body.
There are 6 of us.
Yes, so all 3 of you are quite unique in the way that you allow your spirit to enter and leave your body. And the communication that you have with the spirit world is all unique. Each one is very unique.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is what gives strength to this communication. But
yes, I've seen a big
improvement.
progress and the clarification,
Yes.
which is the energy boost that it helps.
It has
the
helped.
translation.
Yes.
That is.
Thank you for noticing this. And we thank you for joining.
My wonderment and pleasure. Thank you.
This is a good connection. And we do need to leave at this time.
Okay.
We have enjoyed this much today.
I still have.
It's been phenomenal.
Thank you, Debbie.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gail. And we will thank everyone who is listening, who will listen to this in the future. All is well.